So good afternoon or good morning if you're on the West Coast, or good evening if you're somewhere else. We are here today with Gustavo Guimarães and Caroline Vasla from Very Latin Brazil. So they're going to take us on a different tour today. Huh? What do you have for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome everyone. I'm so happy to see you guys here again. Who's coming here for the first time? It's a great pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your time, and thank you absolutely, Dominic, for the space and always the support that you have been giving us. So for today, I'm very happy to see who is a repeater. I hope you're enjoying like all through the journey throughout Brazil. We've been to southern Brazil, through northern Brazil, to the festive celebrations and like all these beautiful landscapes that we have here and the gastronomy. I think we already talked a little bit about everything slightly. But now, what we prepared for you today, it's mostly a guide. I will walk you through this of how to make a very wonderful experience here in Brazil. We have a lot of frequent questions from you guys, like regarding how do you get here, how do you get there, what is our infrastructure in Brazil, of like how do you move, and what is our currency, what's the type of tip that you have to give, what is appropriate, what isn't, and of course matters of like safety throughout the country, a little bit of our history, and what actually luxurious itinerary in Brazil looks like. So I'm very excited to share all of this with you guys. It's just a quick introduction, and I hope that any questions that you might have, please just raise your hand, or like you can write a message in our Q&A, and then Caroline, that's here by my side, she'll be more than happy to answer them, or maybe in the end I could talk a little bit more about whatever you guys may want to know. Okay, so thank you guys. Let's get started. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so who's a beginner? I'm just gonna go through this very quickly. Very Latin is part of TTW Group. TTW Group, we're 30 years old on a matter of a company, and Very Latin is our newborn, which was almost organically born through our experience here in Brazil. We are local. We know what is best for your client. We know where to take him and what to do, and we guarantee you the full client satisfaction. Like, our main intention is to take care of your client from the airport, from the airplane bridge, from the door of the airplane until the very last moments that we drop them off in the airport, you know? So we can make their traveling in Brazil, or maybe through our neighboring countries, as smooth as you could possibly think of. Okay, so and we're part of this very solid group. We've been very specialized throughout these years to this outbound tourism of sending Brazilians all over the world, and also Brazilians travel a lot nationally speaking. So we've always had this knowledge, and we're now sharing it all with you guys. I do hope you enjoy it, but it's like really you're putting your guests into the hands of a very well experienced company that will take care of your guests like if it was like ours all the way, giving you reports and doing whatever you want for his trip to be a great success down here in South America. So as I already said a little bit before, this webinar, we will dive a little bit about into the infrastructure of Brazil, and on a few safety matters and some good news that I have to share with you guys. So first, I would like to start with transportation and communication. How do you get around here in Brazil? This is a very important matter. So Brazil, as you might know, it's a really continental country. We're talking about like 204 million people. Is like the 5th most populated country in the world. We're like the in between like the 8th largest economy in the world. So it's just a few examples for you to know that it's a massive, huge country with a lot of things to do and a lot of things to see. We in Brazil, I would like to say that we don't have actually trains to actually carry people around. So go from a bullet train from Sao Paulo to Rio de Janeiro, from Rio de Janeiro to Salvador, from Sao Paulo to Foz do Iguaçu. This unfortunately it still doesn't exist. We don't have this option, but hopefully we will in a in a few years. That's what we've always been hopeful for. But our railroads, they only serve the to really for commercial purposes, not for people. So our main way to get around Brazil is either flying, which is the most comfortable one, let's say for sure. We have 3 main airlines here in Brazil, which is Latam and Azul and Gol. They work perfectly, and we have the whole country covered in every single way that you can imagine. Or roads. We do have some really, really amazing roads, like connecting Sao Paulo to Rio de Janeiro, or throughout from Sao Paulo to the mountains, to the countryside, or down to the beach, or in many, many ways, we have amazing roads that can connect Brazil from north to south. I mean, like one of the best trips I've had here in Brazil, but this is a personal experience, was a road trip, which I got my car, my SUV, and I drove all the way from Sao Paulo to Bahia. It was amazing, really exciting, but it's not the thing for maybe not the ideal for a guest, but just for you to have an idea that we have very good roads and really well with signs that you will not get lost that easily. So, but anyway, even though we have great roads, great road system, it's not ideal to drive in Brazil or to rent a vehicle for you to drive it, for example, from Sao Paulo to Rio de Janeiro, or from Sao Paulo to the coast, because the distances are really big, you know, like you may imagine, okay, Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, 300 miles, but this journey could take like 5 or 6 hours, which you could easily take a plane that would take you like 1 hour, 1 hour and 10 minutes. So it's a lot easier. So, and if you think about Sao Paulo to Foz do Iguaçu, same thing, like it looks close in the map. But if you actually see the distance, we're talking about almost 700 miles away, like a 10-hour journey for you to get from one place to another. So flying is usually a much, much better solution. So then now to talk a little bit about so air travel. So this is as I mentioned, this is the best way to get around Brazil for your guests, either privately or commercially. And sometimes can be tricky for you to connect from north to south, but we have our whole team here that will help you through this. In the main cities, I would say like Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Belo Horizonte, Salvador, they all work quite similar on a way of public transportation. It exists, but it's not like the main thing that we would tell your clients to do it. You know, I mean, sometimes in Sao Paulo, there are a few places that can be connected by subway, but the buses or the other things that like on the matter of public transportation, we don't recommend. So that's why because it can be really confusing. Rarely you have the signs in English. So the city is really big as well, so it's not ideal. You can get around here easily with Uber Black, for example. It's an app that's the most famous one that works perfectly all over the world, as well as here in Brazil. Car rental, as I mentioned, it's possible, but sometimes not really recommended, because you have those motorcycles just going really fast right next to your vehicle. Sometimes if you're not used to it, it might be kind of scary. So we that's why we have our fleet of amazing vehicles that will be at disposal of your guest. Nowadays, either in São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro, we have really good extensive bike lanes, which you can get from one place to another. In São Paulo, especially during the weekends, there are a lot of avenues and sections that are closed for bikes and the parks and everything. So biking can be a great choice for fun, you know, in the cities and connecting the beaches in Rio de Janeiro. It can be an option. So as I mentioned before, just for you to have an idea of distances, we have São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro here as the main hubs that get clients from all over the world. But you have like really continental distances. Just for example, if you think of São Paulo to Manaus, we're talking about a 3.5 hour flight. If you do it any other way, we're talking about over 2,400 miles of a distance, you know. It's almost like a couple of days driving for you to get from the southern part of Brazil to the northern part of Brazil. So just for you to have an idea of why flying would be the best option for things that would be like over like 200 miles away from where you are, flying could be a great choice here in Brazil. Some key factors of like how we can bring support to your clients. Unfortunately, in Brazil, still, we're talking about 1% of the population that can speak English fluently. So it's a really small percentage. I mean, I think there's more if you think about people that has some idea, but that could actually speak fluently is just 1%. It's really small. Even though we're talking about a population of over 200 million people, if you think about 1%, that's an okay percentage, but still, it's hard to get around if you don't have a guide or if you don't have a support. There's a lot of things that you'll be missing. Rarely on the street you're going to be able to just shout out something in English and you're going to have someone helping you right away, you know. So it's not, it couldn't be considered a bilingual country. So it's all Portuguese. This is what unites us. From Rio Grande do Sul up to Manaus to the Amazon forest, everyone speaks Portuguese with different accents, which makes us really rich, but still it's hard to get around in English. So payment facilities, credit cards are widely accepted, no worries about it. Our currency is the real. Real is a strong currency. So like in a really like somewhat developed economy, but it's still like you cannot go to a shop here in Brazil with dollars or with euros that in cash that it would not be accepted, unfortunately. So you need to trade some of the amounts to reais ideally, or just concentrate as much as possible in your credit card. It's the easiest and the safest option for you to get around here in Brazil. Internet works perfectly throughout the country, especially in the main cities. There's not a place that you will get no service in the main cities. And throughout the countryside, somewhat, and if you're in the middle of the Amazon, of course, there might be some issues. If you're in the middle of Pantanal as well, but all the lodges that we work with, that we sell, all of our partners, they will do their best. They have satellite internet, so your guest will be quite well connected all the way, all the time. So tipping in restaurants, they can vary between 10 and 20%, usually included in the bill. No need to worry about it. And for the staff, for the bellboy and like the driver or the guide, usually it's paid in our local currency in reais, whatever, depending on how great the service was. So moving on here a little bit more towards a safety matter. Now that we're passed through the transportation, like the infrastructure, I hope I got you guys a clearer view of what is it about, but and how things work. But still, now moving on a little bit towards a safety matter. So Brazil, it's getting better and better each time, and I'm really proud and hopeful that this good moment will still keep going like that for forever until we become a very well known as a really safe and amazing destination for your guests and for tourism. as we are in so many other ways. But historically speaking, Brazil, it was a country that, just like the United States, it was colonized. But in our case, we were colonized by Portugal. We had the slavery for a very long time, and we had many pieces of history gave us this environment nowadays with quite a huge lack, a big social inequity throughout the country, where the wealth it usually tends to be more concentrated with a small portion of the population, while the other huge half of the population has to live with a lot less. So this is something that we have to deal with on a daily basis, and we're trying to improve as much as possible. But what it's my point here, or what I would like to highlight, is that in the parts of São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro, that would be my main examples here. They're really big cities. São Paulo, over 10 million people, and with the surrounding cities, almost 20 million people. You have some amazingly well-developed neighborhoods, and this is where your guests will be staying, in perfectly safe neighborhoods where we have like a human development index just as good as Europe, just as good as the US, where people actually live really, really well in a really safe environment and with amazing things to do. So whatever your clients come here in São Paulo through the Jardins neighborhood, or maybe Jardins would be the most famous one where our offices are located, Itaim Bibi, or the Ibirapuera area, or maybe the Paulista Avenue area. These are places that are super well developed. And there's just a few names, or maybe if you go to Rio de Janeiro, we talk about Ipanema, or Leblon, or Barra da Tijuca. They are incredible places, amazing neighborhoods where you can have a very safe environment with police and amazing clinics and hospitals, like world-class hospitals where your clients can feel absolutely safe in every single way. Now, Brazil has climbed 27 positions from the last survey to this new survey that it was made in the ranking of safest travel destinations. So this is something that's it was a really good news announced by our tourism department here. So now it's in between 42 countries. I don't know like exactly what are these 42 countries, but it's the 15th safest one to travel. So in every single way, Brazil is developing, and in these neighborhoods that your clients will be, they won't feel like unsafe in no single way. And of course, they will have our guides, they will have our vehicles, and the sport guide maybe, depending. And like these guys, this whole structure will make them feel as safe as they could possibly be, as they would be when in anywhere else in the world. Of course, there are precautions. Of course, you might not want to wear your Rolex to go to the beach and leave it on the chair. Some things like that could be avoidable, but just like it is in anywhere else in the world, that's my main point. Your client can feel very, very safe here, and that's the word that I want to expand to the world, that Brazil can be considered as a very, very amazing and safe destination. So it's a region free from wars and free from terrorism. Like speaking on a globally somewhat unstable situation that we're going through, a place like Brazil, a place like South America, it's completely off the charter, off the chart when you're thinking about these issues. So it's really good for LGBTQA plus community to travel around through these places, through the neighborhood. So I just want to encourage you guys to feel the same way. I mean, like I can walk around with whatever. I've never been into a tricky situation, actually, because I know like I'm a local, but we wouldn't let your clients be in this sort of situation. So it can be perfectly safe like that. And I don't not even mention like as I'm just talking about the big cities. If you go like big cities is only a part of your client's journey here in Brazil. If you move on to the Amazon forest, to this really far away regions, or to Noronha, which is a fantastic, beautiful island in the Atlantic Ocean with one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. If you go to the middle of the Pantanal, if you go to Lençóis Maranhenses, that amazing desert that we have with those, I don't have even words to describe these lagoons, these crystal clear water lagoons. You're absolutely far away from any concern. You're like, you slow down and there's nothing you have to worry about regarding infrastructure or safety matters in Brazil. So, of course, just to what we provide, everything your client wants for them to have an amazing journey in Brazil. So, as I mentioned, it can be kind of tricky and complicated to connect Brazil from north to south. And there are places where you have to get a connection in Brasilia to go from Rio de Janeiro to Manaus. Maybe there's not direct flight from here and there. So we're here to help. We're here to, Dominique, are you still there? Sorry, no, it froze the screen a little bit.
Oh, yeah, just not.
Are you listening? Okay, fantastic. So you can easily connect. We can get it all together, this itinerary. We will give you commission for these internal flights in Brazil, but I really would like to request you guys to put these internal flights in Brazil, or maybe even the international ones, in our hands, because we have a full service 24 hours flight department. And sometimes if you issue these flights directly with LATAM or Gol or Azul, if you need to change something, if you need to call the airline, rarely you're gonna find someone that speaks English in the other side. So that could be a tough job to work out on your own. So we can take care of the air travel, the fast track and airport assistance, the transfers that we have our very own vehicles, or we can provide also vehicles, armored vehicles, if the client, even though I don't think it's necessary at all, but if the clients wants this extra safety, we can think about it together and see. But we have this fleet. Helicopters. São Paulo has the second largest fleet of helicopters in the world, and the guides, which are really, really incredible and energetic, just like me or even more. So they can, I'm sure they will have an incredible time here with our care and our support here that we can work with in every single way. And now I just would like to go a little bit deeper with these last minutes of presentation of what your client can expect from a Brazilian journey. Our type of luxury here, it's a bit different than what you will find in Paris, or what you would find in London, or what you would find in New York. I mean, like, if you want, we could provide like a huge Escalade, or like any of these kind of transportation that your client used to. But there's so much more. Like Brazil, it's all about hospitality. It's about this warm greeting that we have, like hugging each other when we see each other, the kiss on the cheek, these one-on-one, feeling that you have here. It's the luxury here in Brazil. It's these details. It's these contacts that your clients will have with our culture, with our many cultures that we have inside the country, with the social life and celebrations. I mean, the carnival, the huge events that we have here, or even the small events, literature events that we have in the coast of Rio de Janeiro. That's amazing. The cuisine, the religion, the diversity of religion, and how they all get together and they get along well in general. So, and how everyone can be very respectful. So observing these things and feeling these things are the true luxury in Brazil, of course, aligned with an amazing amount of hotels that we have here, and really high-end experiences that we can provide. So and notion of luxury fluctuates based on region, personal inclinations, and social backdrop. This absolutely. So this is some type of like luxury accommodation. Of course, it could be here on and on talking about Palácio Tangará in São Paulo, or brand new rosewood, or the fazanos, which are amazing. But I do think that your client's experience should include a little bit of a more authentic experience. I mean, like you could go to Troncoso and be in a fisherman's house, which was perfectly refurbished to your guests. You can stay at almost a tree house in Anavilhanas or Mirante do Gavião, or you can stay in a beautiful setting with a private beach in Fernando de Noronha, in Nanai Noronha, or into the historical region of Minas Gerais. So at least these getting out of the main urban centers and going to somewhere, maybe even the Iguaçu Falls with the Cataratas Hotel, it would be a nice experience. Usually, let's think always about this triangle when we make the Brazilian journey. Here, just for you to have a taste, I bet at this moment of the day, hopefully everyone had lunch. If you guys didn't, this could be an amazing slide for you to be inspired. So from north to south, we have tapiocas, which is made of manioc flour. We have those amazing Amazon River fishes. We have acarajé in Bahia. We have feijoada, these beans mixed with a lot of things down here in São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. The coffee culture all over it. Most of the coffee that you drink might come from Brazil. If you have never been to Brazil, had any touch with Brazil, probably at some point in your life you have already drank our coffee, which is amazing, and it's totally installed in our culture. If you go to the Amazon region, there's this amazing soup called tacacá with shrimps and herbs. It makes your mouth a little numb, but it's absolutely delicious. So arts, I'm not even going to start about this. So you have Vic Muniz, you have Gilberto Gil, amazing singer. You have photographers like Araquém Alcântara and Sebastião Salgado, Oscar Niemeyer with this amazing structure. I mean, he built up not only Brasilia, but it has a small piece of him in all the cities, all the main cities, all the major cities in Brazil. It's such an innovative architecture that you cannot find anywhere else in the world. Tarsila do Amaral, we have a really amazing artsy scene here in Brazil. Transportation, as I mentioned, we could go either from these luxury vehicles, amazing yachts, and helicopters. We have all of that. Or you can be in a canoe in the middle of the Amazon forest. You can be in a buggy. It's what we call this 4x4 tiny vehicle that we have here in Fernando de Noronha. You can be in a safari vehicle in Cayman. You can go on a horse ride in the southern parts of Brazil. So transportation can vary a lot. It can be extremely luxury or very rustic, depending on the place where you are, but still very, very amazing experiences. And the Brazilian events, the Fashion Week, the festivals, Rock in Rio, it's so famous worldwide, and we're going to have it this year in September, right? Yeah, in September. And then Carnival every February or beginning of March. The whole country stops for a week just to celebrate life in every single way. So, and of course, the cultural authenticity from north to south, don't mean to be repetitive, but you have so many artistic exhibitions all over the country, and very amazingly attached to the local culture. I mean, so whatever your client comes, if he's interested in these cultural features, we're going to have something for him. And of course, environmental, cultural, and social preservation, which we're developing a lot. There's a few projects like in Cayman, EBT project, and on Safari, all projects that has our signature on it, and that we also value a lot for all of this to be extremely sustainable. Now, to finish, really to finish, I have one more minute. I just would like to announce, I really hope from the bottom of my heart that you guys were able to have a taste of how to get around Brazil and how safe and amazing our country is. And here I would like to make an announcement for our next one, which is coming right around the corner on May 13th, which is on this really nice development environment that we're experiencing here in Brazil nowadays. Gladly, we're going to have our partners here in Brazil So let me just put up a video here. Very briefly, just for you guys to have a quick idea. Do you see it?
I
Okay.
don't see it moving. Huh? It doesn't start.
Oh, it didn't start?
Oh.
Well, anyway, let me get back here into the, I don't want to take your time. So you see my slide again. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So it was just a quick video, but anyway, we're gonna have Swan Atlantic, this amazing cruise company that they will be in the Brazilian coast for the first time. We're
Oh.
trying to attract more and more these companies, the cruise companies to come here in Brazil and explore our beautiful coast. And they will have a program along with Deepak Chopra in places that only small boats could go, you know, so going from Fernando de Noronha to an amazing site in Abrolhos, which it's a place which is like heaven for divers. All of this connected with this wellness and well-being service that would be provided by Deepak Chopra team. And one of the journeys here will be for a little part of it. So this is very exciting. We're great news for Brazil, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into these itineraries throughout our coast and what to do, what to see, pre and post journeys in our next webinar. I hope to see you all again. Thank you so much, Dominique. This is it.
There was an original way of showing your countries or what it, I thought that was very interesting. Huh?
Thank you so much.
And you can always send a video that you wanted to show. You can send it with a recording to everyone. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do so. And we're going to talk more about it. It was just a teaser, but we're going to talk more about it in the next webinar anyway.
I go to Brazil always on my own, and I've been in Brazil from all part of Brazil, from north to south, east to west, on my own for a month and a half, years ago. So I can tell you nothing happened. And
yeah.
for me, I'm
See?
yeah. And but you know, as you said, didn't have the phone, would not put the jewelry and everything. I was conscious of this, but nothing else was different in my behavior. So
amazing.
And there is
great.
So you mentioned twice Cayman, which is our safari lodge in Pantanal, and you will of course ensure all the transfer by car or by private plane. Huh?
Yes, absolutely. We can help with all this journey to get to Cayman, that it's really in the middle of the Pantanal. It's a really exclusive location. So as you may know, the help would be needed to to get to these places, and we can work it out in every single way and make this your weight of your guests over there effortless. It's we can take care of every single details pre, post, and along with Cayman property, and get your guests there in the quickest and or the best way they want to do.
I don't see any questions. I guess it was so detailed, so I don't know what else could be.
Guys.
Caroline, I know you probably took care of it too, but yes, don't see any other. And I'm gonna wish you everyone. Thank you again for joining us. And you,
absolutely,
Caroline, for your time. I will see you next week. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we're excited too. I can't wait to have you here, Dominique. Thank you so much for everything.
And then everyone have a good rest of the day and see you soon of one of our webinar. You know that our webinar are recording and they're also available on our YouTube channel. And you remember also that we have a little platform called www Let's Connect 365, where you can reach Gustavo and Caroline or one of them and have a 15 minutes meeting, and you can even bring your clients on the platform to discuss an itinerary. Any other question? We are at your service. Thank you
all the way.
Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dominique. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and for taking your time. Really appreciate it.